Good afternoon, October 31st, 2022. This is Mary Conley in Jacksonville, and I'm going to give some of my ideas on the Delphi Bridge murders. This is just my own hypotheses, since, and this is hypotheses. Okay, they knew from the very beginning that the man was from Delphi. They suspected the man was from Delphi. So, well, how would they know that? Either he dropped some kind of, it had to be something generic. Because if he said, they said, well, where did you get that gun, mister, or something like that, he couldn't say, oh, I got it at Ted's pawn shop. Something that's on the tape, because there's 43 seconds of tape and we don't see but a few snippets. So he may have mentioned something. She said, oh, this is just like that, and this is just like the Top Gun movie playing over at the Ray. He said, no, it was playing at Millmark. It wasn't playing at the Ray, it was playing at Millmark or something like that. So it's generic enough that anybody in the community could have gone to the Ray or the Millmark. But he knew the names of the Ray and Millmark. So if he had just said, if he dropped a card from Sunray Tire, then it could have been somebody traveling through, because even so you're traveling, sometimes you might have to get a set of tires if one of them blows out or something, you got to get new tires. So it had to be something generic. So she says, this is just like that Top Gun movie over at the Ray. He said, no, it's playing at Millmark. So something like that's generic, because anybody could go to the theater. Or didn't I see you on Collier Street? In your high school on Collier Street. Now, you don't want to say, like, if he had said, my daughter's at your high school, that wouldn't have worked, because then you would have been narrowed down. The police would have narrowed it down to some parent whose child was in high school at that particular time and that particular age, which would probably only be maybe a couple hundred guys. Here's another way that they did it. There were 2,900 people in Delphi, Indiana. They knew the guy was from somewhere in Delphi. He's mentioned something generic enough, a pawn shop, something. It couldn't lead back to him, though. It had to be something like a movie theater, or the parade that went by last week, or Reverend so-and-so's going to, somewhere where there were a multitude of, anybody could have gone through, some political activists. Oh, I know Mr. Jim. Mr. Jim's a big Ben at Tiny, or something, but so everybody knows about Mr. Jim, so he said something but it was generic enough that it just places him as a citizen and not a specific business or commodity that, only he knows about. Like a pawn shop where he bought the gun, well, that's not going to be hard to do. A tire shop where he got new tires, that's not going to be hard to do, because not everybody's going to be getting tires at that date and time, or within those months. Anyway, so he gave some generic information that led them to believe he was from Delphi. That's one. Two, and I always said I thought it was going to be a deacon, pastor, choir leader, counselor, or maybe somebody in the medical field. As a matter of fact, I thought it would be somebody in the medical field that presented himself as maybe somebody that was gay, and they said, oh, or somebody that was slow, and they say, oh, that's Ray, he's slow, or that's Ray, he's a gay Bob, or something, he no way he could do it, But anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, the next thing is, they told you originally that he would change his appearance. He said, if you've noticed anybody that's changed their appearance. Well, over the last 5 years, that guy has been fattish, skinny-ish, fat, somewhat slender, more slender. He had beard, unbeard, goatee, let his hair grow a little longer, let it shave it down a crew cut, shave it down bald, hats on, hats off. He felt that he met that criteria a lot. He kept changing his appearance. But they say he was a very personable, friendly guy as a manager, whatever he did at CVS. I don't know what he did. You're not just born at 45. Now, he got some kind of license in 18, which one made him about 46. And that's fine. He may have said, well, I can make more money doing that, So I just get that license, But what did they said he had worked at Walmart before then. But, you're not just whole born at 45. So what did you do from the time you were 18 and 19? Did you go to college? Did you work a series of retail jobs? There had to be other things that he did, because that's 25 years. What was he doing before? How many years was he at CVS? Was he at CVS 15 years, 20 years? I don't know. That's kind of odd. I don't know. What was I going to say? Someone mentioned there were pet hairs. There were pet hairs at the scene. And of course, your mind, this is an average citizen, your mind speculates that he might have been part of a exchange group that were exchanging photos and pornography of young girls, and maybe even had some kind of site where they would try to lure, like you said, lure girls. Oh man, look at this football player. He's just from a couple towns away. He's a quarterback and he's got all these Facebook pages. Oh my God, we're going to go meet Ben. Ben Schumann or something. He's from the quarterback over at Wildcat High or something. That's kind of like what I think happened, is they thought they were going to meet some nice looking football player from a couple counties over or something. I don't know. They lured them in with something like that, and it wasn't that at all. But that's a whole different story. Now, what did he bear in the yard? Could it have been that navy blue jacket? Could it be the fact that there were cat hairs and dog hairs from a pet that previously existed and maybe was deceased and was buried in the yard? Could it have been maybe the mainframe or drive of a computer? That maybe the handgun was in the drink. I don't know. Then there are others maybe involved. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. There was something else that caught my eye that I thought, well, yeah. The fact that he's got a whole missing half alive, where'd he come from? Where's his family? Was his dad, mom still alive? Stuff like that. But what did he drive? What did his wife seems a little ditzy. I'm sorry. You listen to her and you wonder if she's not, something a little bit wrong there. I'm trying to think. Oh shoot. I'm trying to think. I had a couple other ideas I was going over. Oh, the science. Of course, the DNA of the cat hair, the DNA of the dog hair, the jacket or something being burned or trying to burn fibers of the jacket. I don't know. Jeans, jacket, weapon. I don't know. And then knowing, that's it. There were 3,000 people. Let's call it 3,000 because some people come in and out of town. So there's 3,000 people. 1,500 are men, 1,500 are women. Well, that's skewed already because there's more women than men. So let's say there are 1,400 men and 1,600 women. Then out of the 1,400 men, you've got to take off the community of black people. So let's say that's 100. So now it's down to 1,300. Then you have to take off all of those men, all of the extremely elderly, anybody over 75 on up, and children that are under 12. Some children are killers, actually. I hate to say that, but, when they get in their teens of 13, 14. So we'll say 12 and under, and then the elderly 75 on up. So you take those off. Now you're down to maybe 800 or 900. Then you have to take, and I think they knew he was short. They knew he wasn't 5'9". They weren't telling that. They didn't want to give his exact height, but a somewhat heavy-set man that's of shorter stature. So a hefty guy that's of shorter stature. So you've got maybe 800 left after you've taken all those other groups off. Now the handicap, maybe another 50 you take off, that are in wheelchairs or blind or mentally, in Down syndrome or something. So you take all those people off. Now you're down to about 800. Then now you got to take off anybody that's like 6'5", 11 on up. So there's another 50 or 100, 150. Anyway, I figured out you get down to about 400. Now you've got 400 somewhat short, kind of hefty guys. Now what do? You've got 400 guys that are in that age group, anywhere from 20 to 50, that are somewhat husky, and they're 5'5" up to 5'9", somewhere in there. That have sort of light-skinned hair, brownish hair, and they're pinkish skin, whatever. So that's a part of it. I don't know how much that's a part of it, but that's a part of it. That's just about everybody. You got 400 guys. Where do they work? So now you've got to look up these 400 guys, and you've got to see what they do for their career and what were they doing on February 13th. Now, some of them are plumber. And if they can say, was he working? We had to have the wall knocked out and everything and get a whole new drain pipe put in. Our stucco had to be removed. It was a $1,200 job and blah, blah, blah. Was he there with you? Let me look at my bill. Yeah, he was here. He came about 10 o'clock and didn't leave till 3:45 and had to come back the next day. Well, that guy's out. He was on a job site doing the flooring, doing the plumbing. He was there. The lady verifies that he was there, and he was there during the hours of the event, which was 2 to 4 p.m., I guess. When they called the police, was about 5. So somewhere between 2 and 5, he had to be at that site. He probably was there around 1:30 or something. Anyway, so bills knocked off because he was at the plumbing job. It wasn't him. Now he got $3.99, but you have to do this to each of them. Some of them worked at a Walmart. Some of them worked at in the evening at the theater. So they're over the movie house. So he's still a suspect. So you leave Ted on there because he's still a suspect. You don't know what the situation is, but he doesn't have to report to work. He only works part-time from 4 to 11 at the movie theater. So, his wife has got a teacher job, but he's just working for the time being, cleaning the mall up or something. But his in the evening. So he's still a viable suspect until you know something. So the next thing you have to do is keep narrowing it down, and you're getting rid of people. So most of them were workers. Most of them were doing something that day, postman, whatever. He couldn't just disappear. He was, at a construction site. Sure enough, he was paid, and he was at the construction site, and on and on and on. So now you're down to about 100, 150. So now you've got to go through one by one. Now, if something's wrong with the way the man walks, not just because he was on the bridge, but it's almost as if he had a deformed hip or a deformed leg. And I don't know which side it's on, but as he's walking, both the videos of Mr. Allen and the video of the bridge guy, there's something like he's almost dragging one leg behind. Like when he walks, it's almost as if he had a limp, or, he's got a kind of, like he has sclera, whatever that is, to the back, scoliosis or whatever it is, spongiosis or whatever, that maybe his lower hips are uneven and there may be a twist to his back there. So when he moves forward, there's a noticeable roll to his hips and one of his legs, and it wasn't just because of the bridge. It's just there. So let's say you have that 150 guys. You've got to actually film them, these stout, hefty dudes walking down the street. It's kind of film them to see which one of them rolls their hips, and then superimpose it on the video that you have and see if it's an exact match. You'd have to match up film by film, and as he's walking along, see that roll of his hip, or something like that, where the science comes in. So, and then of course the DNA, and of course the computer history, all of it comes in. And then you have to think, most people like, Dennis Rader and stuff, they've done other things over the years. I don't know what, did he just have some kind of outlet? And he's always mean to his wife. Says, no, shut up. I mean, he's very rude to his wife. They say he was real personable with the thing, but he had a different kind of personality. All right. Thank you.